New York City, a beacon of hope for immigrants for centuries, is now facing a new wave of challenges. Thousands of Venezuelans fleeing economic collapse and political turmoil are arriving in the city, only to find themselves caught in a different kind of struggle. They are grappling with poverty, homelessness, and exploitation, adding another layer to the city's complex immigration landscape. Many Venezuelans arrive with little more than the clothes on their backs, having spent their life savings on a perilous journey to safety. They're often forced to live in overcrowded shelters or on the streets, vulnerable to crime and exploitation. The language barrier, lack of job opportunities, and limited access to healthcare further exacerbate their plight, making it a daily struggle for survival. The influx of Venezuelan immigrants has strained the city's resources, putting a strain on shelters, social services, and community organizations. While New Yorkers are known for their generosity, the sheer scale of this crisis demands a more coordinated and comprehensive response to ensure that these newcomers receive the support they desperately need. The Venezuelan immigration crisis is a story of hope and despair, resilience and struggle. It is a story that demands our attention, our empathy, and our action. For many Venezuelan immigrants, the journey to safety doesn't end at the U.S. border. They find themselves targeted by criminal gangs who prey on their vulnerability. These gangs, often composed of fellow Venezuelans, exploit their desperation for work, housing, and legal assistance. Immigrants, desperate for income, are lured into dangerous jobs with promises of high pay. They are forced into drug trafficking, sex work, and other illicit activities, trapped in a cycle of exploitation and abuse. Fear of deportation and lack of trust in authorities prevent many from seeking help, leaving them trapped in these dangerous situations. Gangs operate with impunity, using violence and intimidation to maintain control. Shootings, robberies, and assaults have become grim realities in neighborhoods with high concentrations of Venezuelan immigrants. The constant threat of violence creates an atmosphere of fear and distrust, making it even harder for these communities to heal and rebuild their lives. This exploitation and violence are not just a Venezuelan problem. They are a societal problem. It is a stark reminder that the most vulnerable among us are often the most susceptible to exploitation, and it underscores the urgent need for comprehensive immigration reform and stronger social safety nets. Maria, a young mother who fled Venezuela with her 2 children, found herself living a nightmare in New York. Desperate for work, she was lured by a fellow Venezuelan who promised her a job cleaning houses. Instead, she was forced into sex work, her passport confiscated, and her life threatened if she tried to escape. Carlos, a former teacher, arrived in New York full of hope for a better future. He ended up homeless, sleeping on subway platforms and relying on handouts for food. He witnessed firsthand the grip of gangs on vulnerable immigrants, the constant fear, and the struggle to survive another day. These stories are not isolated incidents. They are a grim reflection of the daily struggles faced by many Venezuelan immigrants. They highlight the human cost of this crisis, the broken dreams, the shattered lives, and the urgent need for compassion and support. These stories are a call to action for all of us. They remind us that behind the statistics and headlines are real people with real stories, families torn apart, and dreams put on hold. It is our responsibility to listen to their stories, amplify their voices, and work towards creating a more just and humane society for all. The Venezuelan immigration crisis is not just a human tragedy, it is a demographic shift with staggering numbers. Over 7 million Venezuelans have fled their country since 2015, with the United States becoming one of the top destinations. In New York City alone, over 60,000 Venezuelans have arrived in recent years, straining the city's already overburdened social services. The Department of Homeless Services has reported a significant increase in the number of Venezuelan families entering homeless shelters. Data from community organizations paint a bleak picture. Requests for food assistance, legal aid, and mental health services have skyrocketed. Joblessness rates among Venezuelan immigrants are high, and many struggle to make ends meet in a city with an exorbitant cost of living. These numbers, while alarming, only tell part of the story. They cannot fully capture the human suffering, the emotional toll, and the daily struggles faced by Venezuelan immigrants as they navigate an unfamiliar city, a new language, and a system that often feels designed to keep them down. Lost dreams, uncertain futures, the mental health toll. The trauma of fleeing their homeland, coupled with the challenges of starting over in a new country, takes a significant toll on the mental health of Venezuelan immigrants. Many arrive with pre-existing trauma from the violence and hardship they experienced in Venezuela. The stress of finding housing, employment, and navigating a new system exacerbates these mental health issues. Anxiety, depression, PTSD, and even suicidal thoughts are prevalent among this population, highlighting the urgent need for culturally competent mental health services. Language barriers and cultural stigma often prevent Venezuelan immigrants from seeking help. They may not know where to turn for support or may be hesitant to disclose their struggles due to fear of discrimination or deportation. Addressing the mental health needs of Venezuelan immigrants is crucial. It is not enough to provide for their physical needs. We must also address the invisible wounds, the emotional scars that run deep and can hinder their ability to rebuild their lives. Section 6. A helping hand: resources for Venezuelan immigrants. Despite the challenges, there is hope. Numerous organizations in New York City are working tirelessly to provide Venezuelan immigrants with the support they need to navigate this difficult transition. Organizations like the Catholic Charities Community Services, the New York Immigration Coalition, and the Venezuelan American Association of New York offer a wide range of services, including legal aid, housing assistance, job training, and English classes. These organizations play a critical role in filling the gaps, providing essential services and a sense of community for newly arrived Venezuelans. They are often the first point of contact for immigrants seeking help, offering a lifeline in times of crisis. However, these organizations are often stretched thin, operating with limited resources and facing an overwhelming demand for their services. Increased funding and support are crucial to ensure that they can continue to provide these vital services to the Venezuelan community. Section 7. Bridging the gap: the role of community organizations. Community organizations, often staffed by Venezuelans themselves, play a unique and essential role in supporting their fellow countrymen. They understand the cultural nuances, speak the language, and can provide culturally sensitive assistance. These organizations serve as a bridge between the Venezuelan community and the wider New York City resources. They organize workshops on how to navigate the city's complex systems, provide translation services, and offer a safe space for immigrants to connect with others who understand their experiences. The power of these organizations lies in their ability to build trust and foster a sense of belonging. They provide a sense of community, a home away from home, for Venezuelans who have lost so much. Supporting these community organizations is crucial. They are on the front lines of this crisis, providing direct services and advocating for the needs of the Venezuelan community. Investing in their work is an investment in the well-being and integration of Venezuelan immigrants. And Section 8, a call to action: what you can do to help. The Venezuelan immigration crisis in New York City is a complex issue with no easy solutions. However, there are concrete steps that individuals, communities, and policymakers can take to make a difference. Volunteer your time at local organizations that serve immigrants. Donate clothes, food, or money to support their efforts. Educate yourself about the crisis and challenge negative stereotypes about immigrants. Contact your elected officials and urge them to support policies that protect immigrant rights, provide a pathway to citizenship, and increase funding for social services. Advocate for comprehensive immigration reform that addresses the root causes of forced migration. Every action, no matter how small, can make a difference. By working together, we can create a more welcoming and supportive environment for Venezuelan immigrants, helping them rebuild their lives and contribute to the fabric of our city. Section 9. A shared responsibility towards a more hopeful future. The Venezuelan immigration crisis is a shared responsibility. It is a test of our compassion, our values, and our commitment to justice and human rights. It is a reminder that we are all interconnected, and the well-being of one community impacts us all. By embracing our shared humanity, by extending a helping hand, and by advocating for just and humane policies, we can create a more hopeful future for Venezuelan immigrants. We can help them transform their lives, contribute to our city, and become integral members of our diverse and vibrant community. The journey ahead may be long and challenging, but by working together, with empathy and determination, we can ensure that New York City remains a beacon of hope for all who seek a better life.